Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. I know it's been a long time, but today I'm going to dive into my story, into why I became a fitness coach, into my personal development, my fitness journey, and tell you guys a little bit about my coaching and how you guys can start working with me. But without further ado, let's get this started. All right, so you guys can see here some pictures of me. This was the start of my personal development journey and my fitness journey when I was 16. Okay, this is me at my peak physique during bodybuilding prep. I was absolutely shredded, single digit body fat. You guys can see here. This is my brand, EB or Evolved Brotherhood, and this is a recent picture of me. But we're going to kick this off from the very start of my personal development journey when I was 16 years old. So at this time, as you guys can see, I was smoking weed. I was a twig. Look at this, man. Just all these pictures of me. Smoking a blunt here, smoking a dab pen here, super skinny here. And this picture right here is actually 3 months into lifting, just with an adjustable dumbbell, a set of adjustable dumbbells and a yoga mat in my backyard. This is what I got for 3 months of lifting, full body workouts 3 days a week. But like I said, this was 16 years old. I was smoking weed and vaping. I just got out of my first relationship, like my very first one, where I got my first kiss, like the first girl that I loved. And it wasn't even a long relationship, right? And because of that, I was absolutely lost. And I was using weed and vaping to cope, right? I had no ambition or purpose at this time. And I thought to myself, enough is enough. I looked in the mirror at my skinny self and I was like, Marv, it's time to stop messing around. It's time to stop being a skinny little bitch and get more out of life, right? And, at this time, so I was born and raised Catholic, right? And I always believed. I was involved in church. I went to a lot of group events with my confirmation group. If you guys don't know what that is, it's one of the sacraments in the Catholic Church. And, I always believed. I went to all these events and stuff, but I never had a relationship. But at this point, I didn't have a relationship with God or Jesus. I didn't know him. I just believed, right? And I was living a sinful life just in the flesh and, living for the world, right? This was me at 16 years old. This is what got me into the gym, what got me to start my personal development journey because I hit this low point, right? Moving on, 17 years old, look at me here. Look at this progress that I had, right? This was during COVID in around 2020. I had already been training for some time. And, after a couple months of working out in my backyard with those adjustable dumbbells and the yoga mat, I told myself it was time to get in the gym and actually get the gym membership. And funny story, I asked my dad if he could help me out, and he was like, "You know what, Marv? After this, once you get this gym membership, 1 month later, you're gonna quit. You're not gonna go anymore." And you know what I did? I proved this guy wrong. I proved my dad wrong enough for him to believe in me and support me, right? And also during this time, because I was making good progress, right? I was lean. I was shredded. Look at my back here. Little picture with the boys, little pump, right? At this time, I started posting long form YouTube videos and I tried to become a fitness influencer, right? Keep in mind, this was also my senior year of high school. And, I got so much hate from people because my friends didn't understand what I was doing, right? I was going to the gym, I was posting YouTube, I was stepping out of my comfort zone, and a lot of people did not want to see that. They started making fun of me. I started getting hate. People would tell me that I wouldn't end up anywhere with this, right? But I kept going and I started to be happy being in my own body. I began to be happy because of the results I was doing, because I stepped out of my comfort zone and I took the risk to improve myself, right? Moving on to when I was 18 years old, man, this was when I was really, really happy with life at first, right? I was single. still single, 18 years old, graduated high school. I started attending the University of Washington, and I stopped posting on YouTube so that I could focus on college. And I started prepping for my first bodybuilding show. And on top of that, I got my first job selling gym memberships. But look at these pictures, right? Me, my peak physique. Look at this, 18 years old. Me moving into my college dorm with the front double bicep pose. Me in my uniform, right? Me graduating high school, and look, I'm glowing here in this picture because I did all this internal work to get to this point, right? And like I said, I was happy that I got to this point. Super freaking happy that I got to this point. It was because of, like I said, me deciding to take that risk with personal development and deciding to go in the gym and push myself, right? Here, 18 years old. And now we move to my very first prime. This was a great time in life. I was 19 years old. It's in 2022. I had just finished competing in my first two bodybuilding shows. I got a new girlfriend. And at this point, this was when I, started my business journey. I realized from bodybuilding, like, dude, I competed in an untested show against guys that were in steroids. And as you guys can see, you know, I got third place in my class for classic physique and fourth place in my class for men's physique. And keep in mind, like I said, this is an untested show and most people don't even place, right? But I realized that I didn't want to be around the steroids. I didn't want to be around this environment for bodybuilding, and I don't have the genetics of sebum, right? And so I knew there wasn't going to be any money with bodybuilding, but I still loved it. I loved the gym. And look at this, man. Absolutely diced here. This was me after my show with a little J in my mouth. Post win J. And here's me with my coach, Colton, and his partner, rest in peace. But he was my first mentor, and he taught me everything about the gym, about nutrition and fitness. And he honestly has a big part in why I do my fitness coaching today, right? He taught me a lot. And here's another picture of me absolutely shredded, man. As you guys can see, like, bro, I used to be so skinny. Look at this. Look at this, man. And I was able to get to this physique, right? But at this point, because I competed in my bodybuilding shows, because I got a girlfriend, like, life couldn't get any better at this point, right? And so, this is when I started actually thinking about building a future because I was in that relationship and because, I was jacked. I had these things going for me, but I needed to get my money up. I needed to start building a future. And so this was when I started my business journey. And before you think that it gets any better, watch this. Now in 2023, I was 20 years old. This was when I actually started to hate college. I would go to class listening to a professor. Like, I had this one pop culture class and they started lecturing me about Batman, and we started watching movies, and I'm like, I'm paying thousands of dollars to learn from a professor to teach me about Batman. Or an accounting class that I took from a professor, and all we did was lecture. No homework, just tests. And I was so bored, bro. And I was a marketing major. And I wanted to learn how to make money and how to run a business. And going to class, all I would learn about was textbook shit, research stuff, learning from the textbook. Like, how am I going to get rich from this? Right. And so, because of that, that's what fueled me to start trying out business models, investing money online. And I actually found sales. Right. And as you guys can see right here, this was the first mentor I invested in, Detrice Mulsumo. He's a high ticket remote closer. And being in this environment of guys who were millionaires, or even just guys who were making, 6 figures a year, it shifted my mindset. And I loved being in these environments, right? So That was my first mentorship I invested in, and I continued to invest in mentorships to learn about business and to learn sales. And as a result of that, I got into debt. I got into credit card debt because I hated my situation so much and I wanted to learn. I wanted to get rich, but you know, things started falling apart. I got comfortable in my relationship and I lost myself, right? Here, I was working in door to door sales, just grinding. Still believed in God, still didn't have a relationship with Him. All I wanted was the money and to get rich, right? It was my ID for door to door sales, and I actually also did drop shipping too. This was a product that me and my ex girlfriend did, and we were only able to get 3 sales from that, right? 3 sales, and we didn't push it any further because we ran out of money for ads, and I just quit, right? And right here, I was in a call with Garrett Campbell for a $6,500 mentorship. This is the mentorship that actually caused me to go into credit card debt. I put all my money into the back of the wall so I could learn how to sell and be better, right? And here I was studying for my life insurance exam and here I was studying for my life insurance exam, selling fucking life insurance, bro, so that I could put money on the table, I could do better. You see, all of these pictures are just a glimpse of my business journey, right? And I started to lose my physique because I focused on my income and making money, right? Now, at the same time, I had my relationship to balance. And it sucked having to do those two things because I chose to prioritize my relationship over my career, even though I was still failing, even though I was still doing these things, right? Fast forward to 2024, 21 years old. At this point, I got to another low point in my life. I kept bouncing between business models. I got out of a 2-year relationship and, I went back to the basics and started getting my physique back. I started rebuilding my relationship with God and Jesus and prioritizing my faith. And I launched my brand, Evolve Brotherhood. As you guys can see here, right, this is when I first started going back to the gym, but I was like, I'm not that skinny, but I lost my size. You can see here, look at these pictures, bro. I lost my size. I lost it because of my relationship, because I couldn't decide between a girl or my future, right? And this was when I started to get my physique back. Look at that. In just a couple months of putting my head down, getting fueled by the breakup, all these failures, right? And still during this year, I was doing DM setting, I was doing real estate wholesaling, learning from all these different mentors, spending thousands of dollars on mentorship so that I could learn. And just here's some more metrics of, things I was doing. When I was doing DM appointment setting, I would send hundreds of messages every day. I would set appointments. I would try and close deals. And I continued to get better, but the money wasn't coming in, right? Oh, but I forgot to mention to you guys, when I was doing door-to-door sales, this was when I made my first 10K. My first $10,000 was in door-to-door sales, but I was still attached to the money. I was greedy. I thought I was better than everyone else, and it was because I did not have God in the picture, right? But going back to last year, even with all these failures, even with all this work, I knew I had to prioritize my relationship with God because it was lacking. I knew that that using vaping and using weed to cope was not the right move. I had to rebuild my relationship with God, and at this point I truly understood what it means. I truly understood what it means to have a relationship with God, to prioritize him every day, to make him the center of my life, because I know money won't make me happy. A woman won't make me happy. The only thing that will make me happy is God. Fulfilling my mission, chasing my purpose, changing lives, serving others. right? And that is exactly why I launched my brand, Evolve Brotherhood. And this was about September of 2024. I launched this so I could find other guys to help with their personal development journey, with their faith journey, with their fitness journey. And, I actually did in-person events. We did a hike here with a few of the guys, and we did an event here in person, another in-person meetup, networking event. And here was a group call that I have right here. But some of these guys, I was able to help them with their faith, with their fitness, and overall just helping to plant the seed for them. And I did all of this completely for free, right? I started in September, did it all for free. I started working with these guys to build my expertise and to just teach them what I know, and just to teach them everything I know. And in December of last year, December 1st, I actually launched it as paid. I tried to sell a $10 online community for Evolve Brotherhood. But no one joined. Everyone only joined for free, and I was still struggling to get sales, right? And so what I did was, at 22 years old, I decided to invest in another mentor, and his name is Sam Millsap. And what I did was, I put my back to the wall. I was still in college, and I got my first paid client within 3 days of launching my fitness coaching offer. Right? I decided to go back to fitness coaching because I realized that I had a skill in front of me the whole time. Fitness. I've been training for 6 years, but I went from business model to business model, continuing to chase the money, continuing to chase all these other things instead of focusing on what was in front of me and prioritizing God. And because I did those things, I got back into peak shape. I was able to land clients easily and change lives, right? Not just with fitness, but with their faith journey, with their careers, things like that. And I'm still continuing to find ways to be the best coach that I can be. I'm still trying to quit my vices. I got a vape right here. I still smoke weed sometimes. I'm still trying to quit. I'm not perfect, right? But as you guys can see, from 2019 to 2025, this is my whole personal development journey, and I'm still going. I still want to continue to change lives. I still want to continue to breed the best transformations and, just be what God is calling me to be, right? And I mentioned this before, but I dropped out of college back in January, and that was one of my biggest prayers, the biggest things that I wanted. And, obviously I want to be wealthy, and I'm not there yet, but if it was this easy, every single person would do it. Everyone would be rich, everyone would be in shape, everyone would have a successful business, but it's not that easy. What I'm trying to get at here, guys, is if you make the decision now to start your fitness journey, to start learning new skills in order to make more money, to level up your skill set, because you made that decision now, you will get to where you want to be because you didn't quit, right? And the other side of this is you continuing to stay in the same place and not moving forward, continuing to be out of shape, continuing to be broke, continuing to chase worldly things, to chase substances, chase women, instead of prioritizing God, putting him at the center of your life, and becoming the man that you are truly meant to be. And with this being said, I want to tie this into my one-on-one coaching, right? The main guys I want to work with are Christian high-achieving men who want to do big things, who want to improve their relationship with God on a daily basis and just reach their full potential, right? And as you can see here, like, dude, me at 16 years old, this was me at about 18 years old, absolutely shredded. If I'm able to do this, then there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do it as well, as long as you put in the work. Okay? With this being said, I'm going to dive into my coaching offer and show you guys how you can work with me. And I hope in some shape or form I can change your life. So as you guys can see, this is my Instagram page, right? Where I market most of my coaching. But here I'm just going to show you guys some of the clients that I have, some of the live that I've changed. So let's dive right into it. Right here, this is my boy, Lucas Murillo. And let's check this video out. So as you guys can see, like this is just one of the clients that I've had and lives that have changed, right? And all of my clients that you guys see, they're all going to be tagged because I don't fake this. You can literally go and reach out to them and text them about my coaching, right? And just here's like some more wins that I have from my clients. Some of my clients here, Jason sent me a picture of his meal. Lucas texting me how good his pump and workout is. Alex texting me him staying down with his nutrition. It just goes on and on, right? All my clients, I check in with them on a weekly basis, make sure they're doing good. I text them every day, making sure that you're on track and that they're accountable, right? All these highlights. And you can check them out on my page, right? You can learn more about my coaching here, right? All these videos, me explaining my coaching, even more wins, reviews. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop, right? Here's a transformation for Lucas. My boy Jake. Just more messages from my clients, more progress, right? And I'm still in the beginning phases of this fitness coaching business. And I don't care about how much weight you gain or lose, but I care about the transformation that I can create for you with your physique, with your faith, with your career, and overall your personal development, right? So you guys so feel free, go to my page, check out all the testimonials that I have, all the results that I've had, watch my content. But I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video and you took something away from this, right? I showed you my story. I became vulnerable with you guys. Laid out everything to you guys about me. And I hope that you guys can resonate with this and understand that you can do anything you want, but it's going to take time. It's going to take sacrifice, and nothing is going to change unless you make that decision right now. Okay? There are two things, right? There's number one, the return on investment, and number two, the cost of inaction. There's always a risk when you invest in something. And at the same time, there's always a risk when you don't invest in something, right? Either you stay in the same place and nothing changes, or you take that risk, you continue to fail, but over time you get better, right? But if you guys have any questions about my coaching, you want to move forward, you want to work with me, then either book a call with me on my Calendly link below or DM me the word evolve on Instagram, we can get you jacked. We can get you to where you want to be. But I hope you guys really enjoy this video today. Super excited for what's to come with EB. And, I wish you guys the best. I really want to emphasize for you guys to put God in the center of your life, to chase that one feeling, that desire that you have in your heart, because God put it in there for a reason. He put those desires in your heart for a reason because he knows you can chase it. He knows you can achieve it, and you will achieve it one day, given that you put in the work, given that you don't give up, right? So please trust in yourself, love yourself, keep going. And I'll talk to you guys later, and hope to see you inside Evolve Brotherhood with EB Coaching. But yeah, take care, guys. Peace out. Put God in the center of your life, and everything will work out. Peace.